Revolutionary greetings, comrades. Today we celebrate Women's Day internationally. Happy Women's Day to all women who are under oppression. We celebrate this day remembering women who have been abused in their communities. We remember women who are raising children under very difficult conditions. Women continue to play a pivotal role in our society. And we are saying as communists, there's no revolution without women. This is why we must advance the struggle of women emancipation. As Karl Marx noted, that women are used as instruments of production. This is true as the colonialist system used women as instruments of production when it created the reserves for the purposes of women to raise the next labor force. Many women were separated from their husband during the colonial system for them to raise the next labor force. They will wake up in the morning to till the land, feed their children, send their children to school when husbands were away at the workplace. These are the women that we celebrate today. We celebrate women who today continue to use firewood in most of our communities as energy. We celebrate women who continue in this day, in 2022, to carry buckets of water on their heads. We celebrate women today who are involved in cross-border trade to feed their families. We celebrate women who, up to this day, have become fathers in their own families. They have a responsibility to raise their children. We also note that the elitist movement continues to advocate for constitutional reform to include a quota system for women representation in the bourgeoisie parliament. While this is a step in the right direction that we have women in key decision making, but most of these elitist women, they do this to advance their own interests. And when they are placed in positions of authority, they do not care about the suffering women, mainly in poor communities. We have seen in our border post how women in authority treat other women who are travelers, particularly cross-border trade women. We see women in parliament who are not representing the interests of women in poor communities, who continue to live under very, very difficult conditions. As the Zimbabwe Communist Party, we proclaim that women are not a separate class from men. We are all victims of the capitalist system. In the case of Zimbabwe, we are victims of the looting class. It is the looting class that continues to loot our resources, making it difficult for women to raise children under normal conditions where there is a father and a mother in a home. It is the capitalist system that continues to separate families, where men work far away from their homes, leaving women in charge of their homes. So join us, comrades, as we celebrate women in poor communities. And as we celebrate women in poor communities, we must, all of us, work together to ensure that their interests are taken into consideration. That we must support young women who are victims of sexual violence, young women in urban centers who are thrown from the balconies of high-rise buildings by their boyfriends and husbands. Many women continue to die a painful death to this day. So we call on all of us as progressive organizations and individuals to ensure that we build a safe community for women. Let us all respect women in our communities. Let us treat women with respect. And I will say this in particular to Isgwadi. Men who will not want to be rejected by a woman, who will want to force themselves even if they are no longer in a relationship with a woman. And we condemn such men. So let us, all of us, as we celebrate this day, the International Day for Women, to put the issues of women in the forefront. Many women migrants are victims of what we see today in the name of Operation Tutula. These are women whose stalls are being attacked by men because they are of weaker sex. We have seen the attacks of migrant women stalls in Parangwanath tax rank. We see the violence in Alexandra, and in the men, the victims are women. What is said, though, is that women that are in authority, be they in government, in parliament, in the judiciary, they behave as if nothing is happening. So let us condemn the attack directed at women and ensure that women are protected. Let us all, as we celebrate this day, support the struggle of women emancipation. Amandla.